Hello and welcome to another edition of the M.I.A. presented by OTGBasketball.com. Be sure to follow OTG on Twitter at OTGBasketball. Also hit that subscribe button on iTunes. I'm your host, Nick Fay. With me today, Harris Wichard and OTG writer Greg Alcala. What's up, guys?
What's up?
What's going on, man? Greg, great to have you on. Obviously, me and Nick all the time, so it's good to have our OTG writers on with us. So welcome.
Yeah, glad to be here. Glad to talk some hoops. Hopefully we can talk the Knicks into some wins, but we'll see.
The Nets.
And I mean, I got to give Harris. Yeah, they could use it too. I got to give Harris some props for coming on the show after Sunday's loss, but
as Stephen A. Smith would say, I don't hide, man. I don't hide. No, that was tough, man. I didn't think we were gonna have to talk about that today, but Aaron Rodgers did his thing in the second half. So props to you advancing, and hopefully you beat the Cowboys for us. And
yes,
real struggle Sunday, and especially the Hail Mary. I'm a big believer in history repeating itself. I didn't think it would be to that extent where Rodgers completes the Hail Mary after Hakeem Nicks a few years back in like the same.
It was the same end zone too.
Yeah, like same spot.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like the Giants have, two runs that are eerily similar, and it's just amazing how things happen and the way they do. But props to you guys advancing, and I'm a big Aaron Rodgers fan myself. So it's he's a bad man.
Yeah,
it's a bad man right there. It's a bad man. But let's get into Derrick Rose going to play tonight. So let's get into the missing Derrick Rose on today's topic list.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, missing Derrick Rose. Actually, let's start with that right off the bat.
Okay.
So, Knicks the other night, they're facing the Pelicans. Derrick Rose is missing. The game starts. He's not on the court.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of us were confused. The Knicks weren't really sure where he was at. At the end of the game, it comes out, he had a family situation where he had to leave. Point, everyone's kind of a little bit nervous about his whereabouts.
Right.
It's kind of weird because, he was there at shoot-around. And, if you have a family situation, which is that dire, the first thing you would think about is telling your job hey, I can't make it in or something like that. But just to not have any communication with team officials, players, and you even have people going to your apartment just to look for you, that's pretty crazy. So yeah, it's bad on his part, and I don't know if that's going to translate into him getting that next contract. I think he's losing some fire on him right now.
Yeah, and it recently came out today that he was going to seek a max contract when he hit free agency. I think 5 years, $150 million. So that's interesting too.
Yeah,
the Knicks have obviously been no example of consistency, and Phil Jackson's catching a lot of heat for this also. And I know Nick, you pointed something. You posted even a Stephon Marbury video on Off the Glass just to, or that was Jonathan, but just to try to take the Knicks fans out of their misery. But that might have even brought some worse memories back, those mid-2000s days. But it's dysfunctional, man. And, I know he's got family issues, and that is definitely your number one priority. But you'd have to think that some of it is boiled over from the frustration that has been the Knicks season the last couple of weeks now.
He is the main problem, of why this season is going where it is, just because of the the roster. He built a good roster. 2 weeks ago, a couple weeks ago, the Knicks were 14, 11, 16, and 13. So things were looking up, but out of nowhere, it just came crashing down. But I got to give him credit for drafting Porzingis, because, if he took Moutier, we would be outside of his office, rallying, to get him out of New York. So I got to give him credit for that. Because if he took Moutier, it could have been even worse.
Yeah, that's a good point. He could have went, or even maybe Okafor. Porzingis was a great pick.
That's the one thing on his resume right now
that he has.
That's on the green side. There are several things on the red side, but that's the one. And me and Nick have obviously, I'm sure you are too, Greg, are very high on Porzingis and the future of this franchise, because it looks like a legitimate guy you can build around. But it's just you just keep thinking is this it looks like it's almost like a Twilight Zone over there. Is this really going on? And at the head of it is Dolan, and the Knicks have played some good basketball. Even over the last couple of years, we've seen them at that 40-game mark, or around 500, and you're starting to tell Knicks fans telling themselves things like we're better than this team and that team and 6, 7. I don't see any reason why we can't be 4 or 5, but it just seems like there's dysfunction in that locker room, maybe lack of veteran leadership. I know that the problem wasn't the case a couple years ago when you had guys like Rasheed Wallace and and Jason Kidd in there. But I think that's never really been Melo's strong suit, and I think that in situations like these, it exposes itself.
Yeah, and I think in seasons where Melo has had those over the top winning seasons with Denver, he's always had strong leadership. Whether it was like Chauncey Billups or even that season that you just brought up when in 2012 when Wallace, Jason Kidd. If he's the guy that the team has to look forward to being that leader, it's gonna go up in flames. And I don't think that's his if he's just worried about only scoring, I think that's where he's best fit. But if he has to do that and be the leader, I don't think that is best suited for him. So
that's a very good point. And maybe the Knicks thought Joakim Noah was kind of fill that role a little bit. He's known for his leadership, but he hasn't really had a great season. And that'd probably be one of the moves Harris was mentioning before that's in the red.
Yeah, and Noah actually has shown some signs early on. I think it was bad, but some signs of being the Joakim Noah of I want to say of old, because it's not his skill set. It's more so just his energy level. I was watching a game with my friend the other day, and he said, "I just need Noah to scream more." It just seems like his energy and his passion it really makes his game go and kind of picks everyone up around him. And sometimes, you haven't, for the most part of this season, you haven't necessarily seen that. I think we all could see more screaming out of Noah and more energy out of Noah.
Yeah, and that probably would help the Knicks. They need something on defense. They need some defensive intensity. So, but that's been a major struggle. But enough.
Don't lose to Philly tonight. Just don't lose to Philly.
God.
Yeah, that'd be pretty bad.
Lose to the process.
Joel Embiid's no joke.
Yeah.
But onto the OTG rankings page. It was just updated over at OTG. We update our top 5 for every position each month. We'll start off with point guards. This year we got to change up. James Harden's now ranked as a point guard. So we got number 1, Russell Westbrook, number 2, James Harden, number 3, Steph Curry, number 4, Chris Paul, number 5, Kyrie Irving. What do you guys think of these rankings?
All right, so I switched up my list. I got James Harden first, I got Russell second, I got Kyrie third, I kept Chris Paul at 4, and I got Steph Curry at 5 actually. So
Harris, he's got your man Steph Curry at 5.
Yeah, everybody knows that, I defend Curry no matter what, but I'm never going to deny the fact that Westbrook and Harden are having absolutely phenomenal seasons, and almost like you'd look at, I know Nick, you're into some of these statistics, and Greg maybe too, but the amount that they have the ball in their hands, their usage rate is off the charts, both Harden and Westbrook. So, to have those guys 1-2, that's hard to argue. Kyrie seems to get the best of those matchups, what he did on Christmas, and then obviously coming fresh off his performance in the finals. And just what Curry, adjusting to that step back, adjusting to that lesser role. And, just coming off the 2 Cloud 9 seasons and then having to adjust to a much lesser role. And they're still like, 33-6 or something like that, 34-6, whatever it is. But Chris Paul has been banged up a little bit also kind of to me on the other end of his prime. I would probably have, to me, how I feel about Curry better than Westbrook. I'll continue to argue that. But Harden, I think right now is the best player. He might be the best player in the league. That's how good he's been. And I don't know if I ever thought those words would come out of my mouth, Nick, but –
yeah, no, I didn't think I'd hear that.
Yeah, but he might be. I mean, it's just hard to argue at this point.
I think last night it was the 4th time a player's had back-to-back 40-plus point triple-doubles, and James Harden did it. So, I mean, I'm agreeing with Harden at number 1 for sure. I think Westbrook's number 2 at this point. 3, 4, and 5 is when it gets interesting. I mean, I would probably keep Curry no lower than 4. Chris Paul might get swapped up to 3 because he's had to carry the Clippers. You got to remember Blake Griffin's missed a good chunk of the season now. Yeah. And, I mean, they're not like they have some talented players, but missing Blake is going to hurt, and Chris Paul's had to put the team on his back for a bit. I'm okay with Kyrie at 5 just because I still think he has some more to prove in a sense. And obviously he had his big moments, but he still plays with LeBron, and LeBron runs the team still for the most part. So
yeah, I was just going to say, like, I mean, I keep Chris Paul at 4 only because they were like the last couple of years, the Clippers were at the top of the West Conference as a team that were legit contenders to dethrone either the Warriors or Spurs to get to the finals. Just haven't done it yet. They lost to the Blazers last year. Chris Paul had to deal with some injuries, and then the year before that, you're up 3-1 on the Rockets and you completely lose that series. So it's like, and now this season, there's still a Western Conference power, but now the talk is about whether they should blow the team up and get rid of Paul and Griffin. And for a team that's supposed to be at the top of the West Conference, I don't think that's the kind of talk that's just around the team that should be that's a legit contender. So I think that's why.
Yeah, well, I think part of the problem is injuries. Chris Paul's missed time this year. Blake Griffin's missed time. JJ Redick's missed time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and it's a contract year. If they do not make things work this year, I could definitely see them breaking it up. But I still think Chris Paul this season, because these rankings are based off, this as we're going right now.
Yeah.
So I think this year I would still have him probably at 3 or 4.
Gotcha.
But now at shooting guard, James Harden's off the shooting guard list. So now we got number 1, Jimmy Butler, number 2, DeMar DeRozan, number 3, Klay Thompson, number 4, C.J. McCollum, number 5, Avery Bradley. What do you guys think about this list?
I like it. I mean, Jimmy Butler and DeMar, you can really flip-flop it. Jimmy's really coming into his own, having a career year, like 20-point games, like 5 3-point games. Just scored below his career high for
and some really clutch moments.
Yeah, but you could really flip flop it. I mean, DeMar has been like pretty much unstoppable at the 2-guard position this season, and I think the Raptors are like one player away from like seriously contending with the Cavs. So yeah, you can really flip flop it. I'm really high on Avery Bradley too. I think he's really underrated. Came into the NBA as really his defensive player, but kind of developed his offense, got better like every season. Now he's up to like 18 points per game. So yeah, I'm definitely high on Avery.
I think, I know. I'm obviously high on Klay too. Being able to play both ends of the floor, and what he, championship experience and whatnot. But Butler is the best off guard in the league, and me and Nick have even spoken about him starting in the Eastern Conference. I don't think there really is even much of a debate at this point on who would start over him in the backcourt. And, I don't know. I feel like they switch up the positions all the time. 3 forwards, 4 guards, 3. I don't even know what the format is anymore. But Butler is the best off guard in the league right now. And so DeRozan has been offensively as good as anybody. But, Jimmy Butler is a do-it-all, fill the stat sheet type of guy. When I see Avery Bradley's name pipe up, I want to ask you guys this. A side question off this is, who is the more valuable Celtic, Isaiah Thomas or Avery Bradley?
Man, that's a tough question.
It's funny because Isaiah Thomas isn't going to obviously be as high on the point guard list, but I still would probably say he's more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because what he does offensively and how much he can create for himself and the amount of tough shots he hits. And I mean, I think he's still around the top 5, top 10 in the league in scoring. So Bradley defensively, though, is really impactful, but I don't think offensively he's quite the same to what the Celtics need.
Yeah, I agree. You can't really rely on like Bradley to carry the team offensively, like on a nightly basis. And Isaiah pretty much gave Boston like their first star post like Paul Pierce and Rondo and guys like that. And he's like a dynamo. He's like the shortest guard in the league, but he seems to be like unstoppable. So I give it to Isaiah, and he should definitely make the All-Star team.
Yeah, definitely should. McCollum's another great story. We mention him a lot. The mid-major guy from Lehigh, and the amount that he has improved since he's been in the league. To see his name in the top 5, and I think that's another hard one to argue. And me and Nick talk about backcourts all the time. Ranking backcourts and what he's been able to do alongside Lillard has been awesome to see. So, he's another one that is definitely – I don't know if he's an all-star – in the loaded West, he's not an all-star yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
But definitely making it hard for Western Conference defenses. And I remember watching him – this is 2 weeks ago against the Warriors with no Lillard, just the way he carried them. I think that's always a good indication of where somebody is, if where that second best player on the team is when the top guy goes out and they have to play against one of the better teams in the league, and he was able to keep them in that game for as long as possible.
Yeah, he definitely – I like him. I think he's definitely an interesting player. And it's nice to see because he's not super athletic. He's a crafty player. He's an intelligent player. He uses the basketball IQ to his advantage. So that's nice to see. On to small forwards. We got a new addition this month. Giannis Antetokounmpo comes in at 4. But at 1, 2, and 3, we got LeBron, KD, and Kawhi. That's really not a surprise. Number 4,
that's hard to argue too.
Yeah. And number 5, Paul George. So no Melo on this list. Gordon Hayward also got a couple votes. What do you guys think about this?
I don't have any problems with the list, but it's like I'm tired of people sleeping on Gordon Hayward. Like he's just so dangerous to me. Like he's a big guard. I mean, he's a big forward, and he can actually give LeBron the business. Like they beat the Cavs last night.
He hit some big shots in that game too.
Yeah, I know. Like LeBron was like worrying about like officiating, but he beat the Cavs, and I just think he's just very dangerous on the offensive end, and he actually has the Utah Jazz like thinking about the playoffs this year. So yeah, I mean, sometime or not, you got to start giving Gordon Hayward his props, whether it's him even being like in contention for the All-Star team or just in general. Like I just really think he's a great player.
All right, yeah, I don't think there's anything really to debate. You're not going to take LeBron and Durant spots yet, but Leonard and the Greek Freak are two of the nicer, younger players in the league right now. And the Greek Freak, and you watched him against Porzingis. That was, to me, one of the more fun NBA games this year.
That was a fun matchup. You could tell they both wanted it.
Yeah. And I guess Porzingis' ranking is going to have to come under power forwards, but there's nothing really powerful about him. But Paul George, I mentioned. I think I've said this to you a couple times. When he broke his leg under that basket in like, what was it, the USA thing?
Team USA. Yep.
Yeah, I didn't know if we'd ever see Paul George at this level again. So, props to him to get himself back to this level and, be an all-star level player. He's going to be an all-star this year for the Eastern Conference, no question. But it's hard if you want to, sit here and have an argument about, the Greek Freak being higher or Leonard being – this is one of those positions where it seems like everything just kind of falls into place and makes sense. Maybe the Melo fans will be upset about this chart.
No, I'm not.
Yeah. But, I mean, do you think Giannis could possibly get himself above Kawhi by the end of the season?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like just his length and his ability to defend, block shots, grab rebounds. I think he's averaging like 8 boards a game. Like that's crazy. Like even for a forward. So yeah, I think he could definitely get there, and I think he could raise his points per game average too. At least maybe like 29, 30 by the end of the season.
Greg, if you're starting a franchise tomorrow, and outside of James and Durant, who was your number one overall selection at the small forward position?
Outside of James and Durant, who am I taking? I would take – it's got to be either Giannis or Kawhi. Yeah. I mean, I like Paul George, but I just think Giannis's length, he's like 6'11".
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his wingspan is ridiculous.
Yeah, and Kawhi's got that like silent killer type. Don't really know what he's thinking, but I mean he goes all out. Like he won the MVP of the finals without even an All-Star appearance. So I like Kawhi's upside. So
you had to pick between
those two guys.
Between the two.
Yeah, you had to pick between them.
Oh, between the two?
Yeah.
Kawhi and Giannis. I'm gonna take Giannis.
Yeah, I actually agree, and I like Leonard a lot. But I also hear a lot of the right things you want to hear about a player, whether it's getting to the facility first, leaving last. And both these guys are all about basketball, and both these guys seem focused on their craft. So this is not a knock on Leonard. I just look at the ceilings of both of these players, and I think most of the people around the league are jumping on this bandwagon. I think at OTG, even a couple of years ago, I think we saw this coming. But we understand if people could, and this is actually like a real thing, you might like laugh at what I'm about to say, but I honestly think he'd be like higher, more notoriety. I think the notability for him would be higher if people could actually pronounce his name correctly, and it was like an easier name. It was an easier name to say.
Well, the Greek Freak helps. I mean,
that's
the Greek
true.
Freak. I mean, a lot of people call him the Greek Freak because they have no idea how to pronounce his name.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy. I can say his last name with no problem.
Nick actually asked me to read all the when we did the preview shows and all these draft picks and 10th and 11th and 12th guys on the roster, and I'm reading all of these names from France and Italy and all these foreign countries and tough names, but you don't usually this is the first like real legitimate stud superstar that's had a crazy name like this, at least that I can remember in the last couple years.
That's great.
Look at these Davis, Green, Love, James, all these ordinary names, then you see something like this. Who joked about it and wrote like the whole alphabet? Was that Jarrett Jack?
Oh, yeah, I think it was. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
somebody
like
just
two
wrote
last
like
names
every.
combined.
That's funny. Yeah, but he's obviously a stud. And I know I actually would maybe flop those two guys, even though Leonard's had some championship experience. I think Giannis is ready for that next step.
Yeah.
Well, on to the 4 position, the power forward. Number 1, I don't think we're going to have any issues, Anthony Davis. Number 2, Draymond. Number 3, Kevin Love. Number 4, Paul Millsap. Number 5, Blake Griffin.
How have the mighty have fallen with Blake Griffin?
Well, Blake Griffin's kind of drop is I think some people didn't include him in their voting. These votings are obviously from the OTG writers, and I think some people didn't include him because he's out with injury for a few weeks. So,
yeah, he's the second best power forward when he's healthy. Yeah. You know, some people might have him above Green, but
Draymond's kind of high. I mean, when you think about their games, they kind of pretty much do the same thing. What Blake Griffin and Draymond, you know, big guys can handle the ball, go like coast to coast, and you know can shoot. I would put Blake ahead of Draymond. Draymond's averaging like 10 points per game. Like, I was shocked when I saw his average this season. Like, I was really shocked. 10 points, and I think like eight boards. I would put Blake above Draymond.
Well, yeah, Draymond his role is a lot different, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, Blake, like I said, I think Blake's just at number 5. I would probably not even include him just because he's out with injury. So it's more so the talk between 4 and 3, and 2.
I think Millsap's better than Love, too.
I think his defensive ability probably.
You think so?
Yeah.
Greg, you think Love's better than Millsap?
You know, it's just it's the fact that he's on that team where he has to give up a lot of that offensive offensive responsibility on a nightly basis. I mean, you'll see Millsap's game because he is the premier guy on the Hawks, but I still think Kevin Love has a lot of game. And I mean, I know he's out there in the 3-point line, that's his role, but I still believe in Kevin Love's game.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, you look at these and you just think about which, you know, what role certain guys have to play, because Kevin Love, the Minnesota Kevin Love, you could argue was the best power forward in the game. So it's just. Yeah, it's just interesting to think about these rankings, think about roles. You know, are we looking at talent? Are we looking at wins? Are we looking at it? There's just so many different things to consider. I think when I'm thinking about this, are we thinking about it's a pickup game? Who would I rather have first? Or if I'm starting my team, who would I rather have? I think that's sometimes a good way to look at this, because if you just strictly look at numbers or what roles guys play on teams, you get caught up. But I mean, whether
you want to look at their impact on the game.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You know. So how they're impacting the game offensively, defensively, how they gel with teammates, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. But on to the next position, the center position, which is full of talented players. Number 1, we got DeMarcus Cousins. I think that's a lock. Number 2, Karl Anthony Towns. Number 3, Marc Gasol. Number 4, Hassan Whiteside. Number 5, DeAndre Jordan.
All right, so I don't like DeAndre at 5. I mean, 8 years in, and the only thing you can do is catch lobs, rebound, and block shots. Still bad.
He does it really good, though.
You know what I mean? It really makes me wonder, what do you guys him and Tyson Chandler both have the talent to be even better than they are, but they're just not there yet. So for me, I think you guys show Embiid some love. I mean, after missing 2 straight years, he's actually has Philly fans buying tickets. And I don't even think they care if they lose anymore. They just believe in the future of where the team's going.
Well, I mean, they know they have a star finally, you know, and they have a star personality, not just a star player. So that, you know, makes some of a difference too. So I mean, I'd be pretty hyped if I was a Philly fan as well. But I don't think I haven't beat him my top 5 yet. I don't. Definitely not yet. What about you, Harris?
No, not yet.
Hassan Whiteside from from JCC gyms, from D League to overseas to. You know, that post-game conference to get my 2K rating up all the way into the OTG top 5 of centers.
I mean, he's a dominant player.
No, he does. He changes looks. I mean, that's how, you know, on the defensive end, he is as gifted. You know, his timing. Obviously, this being 7-1 helps, but I think he just has a great understanding on defense, and you know, I think he might be the best center in basketball.
Well, then we also got Marc Gasol back at number 3. I mean, Gasol's really had a nice season. Last year it wasn't too great. The year before that last year he dealt with injuries too. So it's nice to see him get his game back. Somebody who's not on the list that probably will be considered, Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, I would think Gobert is better than Jordan.
Yeah, I think Gobert is top 5 in offensive rating and defensive rating. So I think it's a nice little plus for
I would
him.
also, in a heartbeat, take talent. Like I know a lot of people have, we've discussed this a lot too. Cousins is like the most talented big in the league, and Green even said it after playing the other day. But like, I'm not even hesitating if I have to start a team. I'm taking talents. Like that's not, to me, that's not even like a discussion. Like I'll even listen to Davis, I think too. But the Davis Cousins talent things, the saga continues. But for me personally, I think Towns is the best center and best big in basketball. How about with the reporters and him asking them? Did you see this clip?
I did not.
Yeah, yeah,
Greg, you saw this?
yeah.
Where he's asking all the reporters, and we know all the antics and arguments that he's had, and even when he was like barking at that one reporter for talking about his brother. But he was like asking several reporters, like, "Do you want to see me stay? Like, do you want to see me stay?" And like, to one female reporter was like, "At what cost? Like, what's the price?" And then like someone after that was like, "It's a no for me." So
you know what? That guy that said no, I really think he was looking out for like DeAndre's best interest. Like, I don't think he sees like the Kings going anywhere in the Western Conference. So I think he was like, you know what? I think you should get out of town. Like, look for a better destination to actually win. Like, a lot of people talk about him on the Wizards. I think that would be like a perfect situation for him.
Yeah, or that he just didn't want to cover him anymore.
Oh yeah, that's true.
No, that's another thing that me and Nick have discussed throughout the years, that he's such an environment guy. I just think he needs to get out of that environment, and I think just with a veteran alongside of him and in the right situation, I think talent-wise, there's no question that he's the best big in the league. But there's just so many external factors that's caused his career. I guess numbers-wise, it's good, but I think that have prevented him from going to where he needs to go from a win standpoint.
Yeah, like he needs to be like. I mean, if it was possible, like he needs to be on like a team like the Spurs, where like there's a winning culture there, and you got a strong personality and a heck
strong veteran leadership too. You need
Yeah.
someone who can really teach him the ways. He's never really played with that many great players, so I think that would definitely help him out a little bit.
And also, do you know that Garnett was hired by the Clippers? Did you see that?
Yeah.
As a consultant, yes.
Yeah, like that's like he needs like a veteran guy. Like, I mean, everyone's pointed to Garnett as being like that kind of mentor, even though I think Garnett's out of his mind. Do you think that the Garnett move to the Clippers has anything to do with him flopping on TNT so far?
I'm not sure. I mean, I know this was talked about for a while, and there's been like clips this year seen when he was at Clippers practice working with like Blake Griffin once. So I mean, maybe it was already in the works. I don't know. You don't like it showing TNT?
No, it's not area. You mean Area 21?
Yeah.
No, it's not that I don't like it. I think they've kind of been like impatient with him because he cursed a couple times.
Yeah.
And like, I just think that like, I think it's like entertaining and stuff, but I thought they may have believed that he would be more of a natural at it, and it's kind of taken him some time to adjust. And so, in other words, he got like, if he's a consultant with the Clippers, is he still going to have Area 21? That's what all the fans really want to know.
I have no idea, to be honest. I mean, I could see him having both for sure, but you never know. But talking about the playoffs, the Eastern Conference, so the Raptors recently had a little bit of a rough stretch. They went 5-5 over their last 10. Now, they did beat the Celtics last night, but the Celtics are still 2 games behind, and the Hawks are 3 games behind. Do we still think the Raptors are a lock for that 2 seed, or do we think that, Boston, Atlanta, maybe even one of the other Eastern Conference teams that get hot make a run for that 2 seed?
If I had to choose a team, I would say I think I would keep the Raptors just because they've done it before. They've got to the East Conference Finals last year. And, I mean, for a sleeper team, I would actually look at the Pacers. Like, I really like the makeup of their team. When,
they started to finally find some rhythm, too.
Yeah.
Won 5 straight.
You got Ellis, and you got, I think, a sleeper on that team with Al Jefferson coming off the bench to give you, like, that post presence. And he's dangerous. And you also got, Miles Turner. I think the Pacers are definitely a team that, the East, especially the top of the East, could look at as being a dangerous team towards the end of the season.
The Pacers are starting to cook, in the words of Nick Fay.
Yes, they are.
I think the Raptors will hold on to the 2 seed. I think we've seen enough with that group and the camaraderie. I actually like Dwayne Casey a lot. I'm starting to like him a little bit more. I think they adjust well. I like what I saw down the stretch. We've obviously spoken on DeRozan, but would it surprise me if the Celtics took over the number 2? No, just both those teams have to want to stay in those 2 slots to, I guess, avoid Cleveland to the conference finals, maybe. But the biggest threat to try to make noise outside of those 2 teams, I'm hoping that the Hornets get hot again. I just like Kemba Walker, as you know, a lot. And they actually played Houston pretty tough yesterday. Hoping that
they almost came back in that game.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they could get hot again. And I think they have some bigs. Kaminsky and Clausen aren't great players, but I do think the makeup, Batum and stuff, I do think the makeup of their team with as Gilchrist could get it together, I still think they have a chance in the East. I still think that, not to beat Cleveland, obviously, but to kind of bump their rank. I think they'll finish higher than 8. I have a feeling they'll finish higher than 8 with the Hornets.
Yeah, I think they will. I mean, the East is just really weird because about a month ago we were saying a lot of negative things about a lot of the teams that are in the playoff picture right now, like the Pacers. The Hawks recently, I think, lost 5 straight before that. The Wizards looked pretty bad early on. The Bucks were kind of sketchy.
We were very down on Washington.
Yeah, I mean, Washington, they won 7 of their last 10, 3 straight. So they can get things together. They have some athletic pieces and some young players, and they have John Wall, who's he always gets overlooked just because he's playing for the Wizards and they're not making noise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's played well. But again, Ernie Johnson last night even asked DeRozan, and he's like, what's the gap? You know what? I guess that's what everybody really is concerned about in the East right now. Not who's going to be the 2 or 3, but more so, what's the gap between you and Cleveland? Because that's the measuring stick right now.
Well, Jonathan wrote a really good article this week about what the Raptors need to do to beat Cleveland. One of the things was, make a move. Make a move for a power forward. It doesn't necessarily have to be Paul Millsap, but he mentioned maybe somebody like Trevor Booker as well. Just someone to really beef up that 4 spot for them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's like the unsung hero on the Nets, pretty much their leader. He gets boards. He's strong inside. Plays well. He can defend well. But I think they need to put somebody – I think they need somebody that can put pressure on Kevin Love. So I think they need a more of an offensive force.
More offensive threat. What would be somebody maybe other than Paul Millsap you might think of?
Other than Paul Millsap? I mean, who are the other top power forwards on the market? I mean, I definitely don't think they have a shot at Blake Griffin or.
No, they I think they could have a solid veteran player
Greg Monroe's been mentioned as being on the block. That could be somebody they might pursue. Maybe even Serge Ibaka. Jonathan mentioned this as well because he's on the 1-year deal. I don't know if Orlando wants to make that move. But, I mean, just in general, do you think the Raptors definitely have to make a move if they want to beat the Cavs, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, if they want to give the Cavs more of a push, I think they have to make the move. But
I'm saying if they want to beat them in a 7-game series, not just push
beat them in a 7-game series. Yeah, they probably got to make that move.
They actually have some pieces. I could see them moving a Carroll or a Terrence Ross or I think there are some they have some decent isn't Corey Joseph I could see being moved
Norman Powell.
Yeah, there are some guys that get packaged together with a draft pick that could probably help them.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it would just make sense for them to finally try to make that push. You can't just expect Cleveland to eventually just get worse. So
yeah, and with that Korver move, they didn't need any more help. So
that Korver move just boosts them more. We and Harris talked about it last episode. It's just giving them another weapon.
Yeah,
Korver not only an L in his first game, but only 2 points. How many minutes he played? I didn't even catch that play.
No, I didn't really get much of a chance to catch him play. I saw some of the plays of that game, but I'll probably give him a few games to kind of settle in.
LeBron said if you want to fit in, just shoot every time you touch it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a little bit of pressure when you step on the court with LeBron. It probably is a weird feeling. Obviously, Korver's been in the league for a while, but that team just won a championship, and they're one of the best in the league. So
yeah,
Korver was 105
to Atlanta.
Yeah. I mean, when Atlanta had that huge season where they won 20-plus games in a row, and, Korver was shooting an outstanding percentage, and he was hitting from all over the floor. He was running all over screens, making it just extremely difficult to defend Atlanta with their motion offense.
Yeah.
Nick, I think I was at your house when the Hawks played the Cavs in that conference finals, and was that the season you were talking about when the Atlanta won like 65 games?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, and Corver last night, 18 minutes, 1 of 5. So he'll figure it out. He'll find his way into who's the Liggins has been playing minutes for them.
Yeah, he's been playing some good minutes too. So the Cavs will be fine though, and the J.R. Smith will eventually come back, and that's another boost for them, as long as he's actually focusing.
Yeah, I think he'll catch stride. Like I think in like the games to come, they'll actually like try and run more screens just for Kyle Korver to get comfortable and get hot and just
get him cooking. Yeah, that would make sense.
I think he'll be fine.
And it looks like over in the Western Conference, Portland took over that 8th spot. I mean, it's still pretty bad over there. They're 17-23. The Kings 16-22. New Orleans 15-24. Even Denver 14-23, and the Lakers at 15-27 are all up for that 8th spot. This is not something we're used to seeing in the Western Conference.
Yeah, this is rough. I mean, there's so many teams there that I thought would be better this season. Like the Mavericks. I mean, I know they've been hit hard with injuries, but
yeah, they've been pretty bad.
You got Dirk. Even Dorian Finney-Smith has been playing well. So I thought they would be better. The Timberwolves, I don't know what's going on there. Tom Thibodeau is a great coach defensively, but it seems like all the the offensive pieces he has just hasn't been able to like get it done on like the other end of the floor. Lakers are pretty much where I thought they would be, but I think the Kings can make a push for 8th.
Yeah, I mean they're held down the 8th spot for a little bit themselves, so
yeah.
And they were one of the teams interested in Paul Millsap, so I think that's a team maybe you could see active, especially if they plan on re-signing Cousins. They want to give him something to work with. And some playoff games in Sacramento in that new arena would definitely help.
So we're discussing right now who will have the honor of getting swept in the first round?
Yeah, pretty much.
Portland, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to imagine Portland with the players they have.
Not making the playoffs?
Yeah, not making the playoffs, especially after they made it last season. That'd be pretty disappointing.
Yeah.
But you never know. I mean, one of these young teams, even the Pelicans, Anthony Davis is a very good player, and he wins games by himself sometimes. And Holiday's back. Tyreek Evans is back. They're finding some rhythm.
They played Golden State a couple years ago in the first round.
And that was a good series, even though they obviously didn't do anything. But, I mean, they made entertaining games. Steph hit that ridiculous 3 in the corner.
Yeah.
You need in order to be a 6, 7, or 8 and make noise, you need a marquee guy. And, we saw the Pacers almost beat the Raptors last year. Marquee guy. But I think the reason and you guys were touching on the lack of wins at the bottom of the West, but you got the team like a Rockets hasn't been this good. The Jazz are much improved. So they're taking away some wins from the bottom of the West. That is, I mean, look.
Well, I mean, and then you have 2 teams at the top where the Warriors only have 6 losses and the Spurs only have 8 losses and the Rockets only have 9. So there's not enough wins to go around.
Like you could make the argument right now. I mean, and not only record-wise, but I know the Cavs are defending champions, but the Rockets are making their push to be in the upper echelon, the elite in basketball right now. And they've had the Warriors and Spurs do that, but over the last couple of years, at least, there hasn't been that third team that's been established. Well, the Thunder were kind of with Durant, but to have 3 teams over 30, it's going to seesaw the balance a little bit.
Well, let's finish with this then, talking about the Rockets and over 30 wins.
Yes.
Can the Rockets win an NBA championship this season?
Yes.
Give me a percentage on it.
Percentage? I'll give you 70%.
There's a 70% chance they'll win the championship or get there.
Oh, they'll get there.
They'll get there. 70%. You think they'll beat the? There's a 70% chance they'll beat the Warriors and Spurs.
I am really high on the Rockets this season. Like D'Antoni stuff actually works. You got Harden playing the point, and he's like probably the most dangerous he's ever been in his career at that position. Eric Gordon is actually healthy. He's staying on the court. Ryan Anderson is ridiculous from 3. You got some toughness. You got a good bench. Like I think just everything is working in towards Houston's favor, and I think they could take the Warriors. I mean, they already beat them this season, so I definitely think the Rockets could stand a chance and get to the finals. I don't know if they'll beat the Cleveland, but they can definitely beat the Warriors. I'm high on that.
Well, I have a different narrative, but The reason why I was so high on those D'Antoni Suns teams, I thought it was just Nash was the head of the snake was Nash instead of Harden. And I was a big Nash fan, so I was always trying to convince everybody that one year they'd get over the hump. And they had some unfortunate circumstances when M.I.A, coming off the bench and all that other garbage, as you guys know.
Yeah.
And they couldn't beat the Lakers for a couple of years. They couldn't beat those Spurs teams. This Harden team, I don't even know if it's as good as that Suns team, man. Like, this is a good. Don't get me wrong. This is a good basketball team. It's a really good basketball team. But in the postseason, when it slows down a little bit into some half court basketball, I would put it at a 20 for them to come out of the West. A 20% chance, 25 maybe, and then maybe 10% to win it all. But they're going to have a lot to go right for them. I don't want to call them a regular season team because I think they have some defensive-minded guys, and Beverly helps them a lot. And I like what I see from help me with his name, the guy that's filling in for Capella now, Harzel. Yeah,
Montrezl Harrell.
Yeah, Montrezl Harrell. Yeah, I like that guy a lot too. So I think the better question, Nick, is can they win 60 games and then go from there? But it's going to be tough for them to win 4 playoff series.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably agree closer to Harris's. I would probably go between maybe 12 to 20%, somewhere in that range. Yeah. I think you have to think, I'm putting a lot of bets into the Warriors. I think there's too many good players in that team. I mean, they probably have over a 50% chance for me for winning the West. And then you got to remember the Spurs. You got to give the Clippers at least a small percentage.
I think the Rockets could definitely beat San Antonio, though.
Yeah, I mean, but beating San Antonio and beating the Warriors, I think, is a different thing. Not to take anything away from the Spurs, but they just don't seem quite as scary as they used to. And the Warriors just seem so deadly with Kevin Durant now that, how are you going to beat this team 4 times in 7 games?
Yeah. The only thing I'd say about that is that the only reason why I say the Rockets have a chance against the Warriors is because I don't trust the Warriors in crunch time. Like when points really matter and you gotta convert. Like when on Christmas Day we saw Durant get pushed down by Richard Jefferson and didn't even get a shot off. And then in the finals last year we saw Curry not play well down the stretch. Missed a lot of shots. And I just don't know if I believe in them crunch time to make those shots when it really matters. Because Durant left a team where he didn't want to be the guy just to be a part of the group in the Warriors. But he's standing out. And I don't even think he even wanted to be that kind of guy because Curry's already there. But yeah, I don't believe in the Warriors crunch time. I think if it's a blowout game and then they catch their strides in the first 2 quarters and it's a blowout game, they can finish. But in terms of a game where it's going down the stretch, I think I would take the Rockets in that fashion. Yeah.
Harris?
my rebuttal to that?
Yes, you're
honestly, I think that's getting a little bit blown out of proportion. I could see where people want to point to, Christmas Day, even what happened in the finals last year. But a lot of their struggles have come against the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is an established basketball team. This is a team that's been to consecutive NBA finals with one of the best players in the world, if not the best player in the world on their team. I've yet to see those same struggles against teams of lesser talent and lesser, that's the one team that seems to be able to match up well with them. And obviously LeBron James helps, but I don't think this is going to follow them around that long. I think we fall victim sometimes of the moment, and we get caught up emotionally in what we have seen very recently. And I'm looking at more of the body of work. I could see where it could be a concern if, they cannot figure out down the stretch of who to get the basketball to. And we saw the other night, that was concerning. The loss to the Grizzlies was concerning just because it looked like down the stretch there was a lack of focus and, Durant and Green having that exchange. That would be much more of a concern to me than what happened on Christmas Day in the defending champs building. And Richard Jefferson forgetting that it was 2016 or 2017. So this recent loss to the Grizzlies, losing games like that would be more concerning than anything that happened in the finals last year. Again, new team this year, and then on Christmas this year, Nick.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think the Warriors still have plenty of time, 40-plus games to, kind of get things together. I think there's too many good players for them not to be able to close, and then obviously Steve Kerr. So there's no reason that they can't get the rhythm. I think adding Kevin Durant is going to still take time in some sense. Like Greg said, I mean, I think they still need to figure out the roles a little bit and find a little bit more balance. Even Draymond Green said, I think about a week ago, that there's times when guys aren't shooting when they should be shooting. So, they just got to get more comfortable with each other. But that wraps it up for today. Great show, guys. Thanks for coming on, Greg, and great job as always, Harris.
Thanks, man. Yeah, thanks, Greg. I appreciate you coming on and all the other writers they're putting out great content on OTG basketball. So it's always a pleasure.
Yeah, man.
Yep. And shout out to everybody listening and hit that subscribe button.
Have a good night.